So the another important class of biomolecule that we need to explore is called carbohydrates. Okay. Now we all know that carbohydrates actually are the one which provides the source of energy in living organisms. Basically, they provide the source of energy in living organisms. It's not just the source of energy, but in plants, they have a great role towards various kind of structural elements. Okay, for example, the cellulose, which is responsible for the cell wall, etc., etc. Okay, so carbohydrates form a very important class of biomolecule, and we need to explore their chemical features. So in this chapter, we are going to explore the same thing. Some of the commonly known carbohydrates to us are the small molecules like glucose, fructose, also sucrose, okay, something that we consume on a daily basis as sugar, okay, and lactose, maltose, rhamnose, ribose, etc., etc. These are all smaller molecules like monomer or dimer, etc., and they taste sweet. So that's why commonly sometimes also referred to as sugars, okay, generally. But then there are carbohydrates which are polymers of these kind of smaller molecules, okay, and they are like starch and cellulose in primarily in plants, and you also have the polymer form of carbohydrate in animal, which is referred to as glycogen. Now, glycogen is the form in which the sugar actually is stored in living organisms. Okay, and in plants, the starch and cellulose are the one, but which are not only used for the purpose of storage of food, but they are very much important in the plant structures. Okay, for the formation of various kind of structures in plant. Now, all of them together have been called as some have been referred to as saccharides. Saccharides. Okay, so the carbohydrate in general are also referred to as saccharides. So as I mentioned, the smaller molecules like glucose, fructose, etc., etc., they taste sweet and we refer to them as sugars. However, the polymer form of these smaller molecules like starch, cellulose, glycogen, they don't taste sweet. But when we consume them, and then when their digestion happens, let's say in our mouth while chewing through saliva, when they are digested into smaller molecule, then we start developing the sweet taste for the digested form of these carbohydrates. Okay, so sometimes these bigger molecule, the polymer of carbohydrate, they are also sometimes referred to as non-sugars, and all of them together are generally called as saccharides. Now, earlier it was with a limited understanding on carbohydrate or limited exploration on carbohydrate. It was said that the compound having the following formula are referred to as carbohydrate, where you have CXH2OY. So you have carbon and then you have water molecule. So that's why these compounds are like hydrates of carbon. And here X, the number of carbon atoms, could be same or it could be different to the number of water molecules. Okay, so CXH2OY, where X can be equal to Y or X may not be equal to Y. So carbohydrates were earlier thought to be the hydrates of carbon. However, with more and more exploration and finding on carbohydrate, it was found that this is not a general formula to represent a carbohydrate. For example, there are carbohydrate like rhamnose. This is one example here. It is a carbohydrate, but it does not follow this formula, because here the formula for rhamnose is C6H12O5 and doesn't follow this particular formula, because for water, if it is here you have hydrogen is 12, so it should be 6 at least, then the oxygen should have been 6, but it's not 6 here. Okay, similarly you also have the molecules or the compounds which are not carbohydrate, okay, but they end up following this kind of formulation. For example, acetic acid, and it has a molecular formula of C2H2O2. Okay, so it follows this kind of general formula, but it is not a carbohydrate. So we cannot say that this is a general formula for carbohydrate. However, a large number of carbohydrate will have their molecular formula to fit in this particular frame. All right. So then what is carbohydrate? The carbohydrate in general, in modern definition, if we try to define them, which we are anyway going to explore, they are polyhydroxy compounds, polyhydroxy carbon compounds, and they are either aldehyde or ketones. So for example, glucose, if I represent the formula of glucose here, you can see here it's a polyhydroxy compound. You can see that it has aldehyde group. So there are compounds which carry large number of hydroxyl group and also the aldehyde functional group. So they are like polyhydroxy aldehyde. Okay. But apart from that, there are compounds where you have the large number of hydroxyl group, but instead of aldehyde you have ketonic group. So they are like polyhydroxy ketone. Okay, so we will see that the structure of fructose contains the ketonic functional group. Okay, but this is not only the thing which is the characteristics of chemical formulation of carbohydrate. The carbohydrate also are optically active at one or more carbons. For example, in glucose, we can see that this carbon here is optically active. And similarly, there are more carbons which can be found to be optically active. So the carbohydrate smaller molecules, they have optical activity associated with them. All right, there is a net optical activity. So this becomes another important feature in the definition of carbohydrate. So in general, carbohydrates are polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketones, and they are optically active compounds. Now, normally, when we talk about polyhydroxyaldehyde, we also refer to them as aldose. Okay, aldose. So, aldehydes, the sugar containing aldehyde functional groups are referred to as aldose. So, basically, these are carbohydrates which contain the aldehyde functional group. Similarly, the carbohydrate which contains the ketonic functional group, they are referred to as ketose. Okay, and we will explore this also further and when we discuss the classification part of carbohydrate. Classification of carbohydrates. So we start with the simplest of the carbohydrates, and they are referred to as monosaccharides. Monosaccharides. I have just written in the examples the smallest of the molecules, which are like C6H12O6, which is glucose, and even the fructose has the same formula. Okay, glucose and fructose both have the same formula, actually speaking, and the it's just that one is ketone, one is aldehyde. That's a difference, but general formula is same. So then you have glucose, glucose, fructose, etc., etc. All these are called monosaccharide because there is only one molecule. And the thing is that how do we know that that's the only smallest molecule that is possible now? Because as I was saying that you can always break a bigger molecule. Okay, for example, I was saying the starch or carbohydrate, starch, or let's say cellulose. If you hydrolyze at high temperature, okay, then they all add up along with the n number of water molecule to give you the small molecules. And molecules means most of them will be actually monomer. If you hydrolyze sufficiently, then all of them can be converted into the smallest unit, small molecules. For example, the monomers like glucose, pentose, glucose, etc., etc. Okay, all these smaller molecules. So I'm saying that you cannot hydrolyze them further. Okay, these are like polymers. So if this was a polymer, if you hydrolyze this, that should also give you smallest molecule, but it doesn't get further hydrolyzed to break into the smallest pieces. So these are like smallest pieces, or they are, you can say that smallest unit of carbohydrate. They are like smallest units of carbohydrates. Okay, this is something that you have to know. They are like monomers of of or any kind of carbohydrate that we are talking about. And they need not be 6, they could be 3 carbon, they could be 5 carbon. Like I gave you the example of ribose sugar is a 5 carbon sugar, 5 carbon sugar. Okay, so how many type of monosaccharides are known? Well, approximately, again, just like amino acids, here also somehow there is a 20, approximately 20 types of monosaccharides. I have given you the example, like the smallest molecule. Then looking at some of the bigger molecule than this, not even the polymer, but something in between. I'm establishing a certain similarity with what you have already studied in your protein topic. There is something called as we looked at polypeptide. Remember? So you have monomer, which are amino acid. Then you have polypeptides, which is something a length of chain between 10 amino acids to, let's say, 100 amino acid. And then a higher are generally referred to as protein structures. So here also I'm referring to now something called as oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides. So these oligosaccharides are simply nothing other than, if you have a disaccharide, means two sugar molecules, smallest monomers combined together, di, tri, tetra, etc. Okay, all these saccharides. So you may have, let's say, example being here, sucrose. Sucrose is a disaccharide because on hydrolysis it gives glucose plus fructose. We will explore the structure of fructose also, don't worry about that. But I am saying that now these are the monomers. So sucrose is a dimer. Okay, similarly you have maltose, another example, maltose, and if you hydrolyze you get two molecules of glucose. So you can have oligosaccharides which carry the number of monomers as covalently bonded together, and more than one, of course, then from di, tri, tetra, penta up to deca. But then if you go higher than 10, generally we refer to them as polysaccharides here. Okay, the bigger structures, there is no fixed definition as such for this polysaccharide, but I am saying that higher structures are generally referred to as polysaccharides. And the example being here, starch, cellulose, glycogen, etc. And I told you that all the polysaccharides, they are generally also referred to as non-sugar, simply because they don't taste sweet directly, but only when they are broken into smaller pieces they taste sweet, because they are producing now either oligosaccharide or even the monosaccharides. All right. Okay. Polysaccharide also on hydrolysis, as I said, they lead to, like here you can see, they lead to smaller molecules. For example, if you take starch and simply hydrolyze in acidic condition by heating with acid, you get n number of, basically this hydrolysis, acid hydrolysis means water will add, definitely there is a addition of n number of water molecules. Okay, just like here, and you get here n number of glucose, because starch is a polymer of glucose. So actually speaking, there is a way of classifying even the monomers based on the number of carbon atoms that it has. Okay, so you have your smallest of monosaccharide is of 3 carbon, number of carbons in the given monosaccharide. Okay, so you have, let's say, 3 carbon, 4 carbon, 5 carbon, 6 carbon, those kind of molecule. So a monosaccharide with 3 carbon, that is referred to as triose. If you have tetrose, pentose and hexose. but this is only by considering the number of carbon atom. If you also incorporate the functional group which is prominently aldehyde or ketone, so aldose with 3 carbon will be referred to as aldotriose. Aldotriose. This will be aldotetrose. Aldopentose. Aldohexose. Okay, suppose, so glucose is actually aldohexose. Okay, if you I'm glucose, and it is having a 6 carbon, so it is aldohexose. Okay, similarly, if there is ketone on the given monosaccharide, then it can be ketotriose, it could be ketotetrose with 4 carbon. Okay, likewise you can have ketohexose. So your fructose is ketohexose. Another example for ketohexose is fructose.